Breaking news exclusively from Blue Eye Media. And now here is freelance reporter Harry J. Sisson with the latest facts.
Well, folks, it looks like we're going to war again with a new country, actually, because Donald Trump wants to, it seems. Nobody in the Republican Party has a spine. They have no courage. Nobody in his administration has a spine. They have no courage. So none of these people are going to stand up to him and say, hey, maybe this is not a good idea. We're already in one war right now with Iran. We're spending billions of dollars per day. The economy sucks. Gas prices are up. And Donald Trump apparently thinks it's a perfect time to start another war and subject more Americans to that chaos. He's now eyeing to invade Cuba. This has been an ongoing conversation, but we just got some exclusive reporting that these things are in advanced stages. These talks are in advanced stages, and Donald Trump is looking to make a move on it, and Cuba is actually planning a response that could cause a whole host of issues. So let's start with this clip of Donald Trump yesterday saying that he might be preparing to, quote, do something to Cuba, whatever the hell that means. Take a look.
Then the White House won't be a very secure place.
But then regarding Cuba, there was an aircraft carrier that just arrived there this week, the Nimitz aircraft carrier. Are you sending that there to intimidate the Cuban government?
No, not at all. The Cuba, look, it's a failed country. Everybody knows it. They don't have electricity. They don't have money. They don't have really anything. They don't have food. And we're going to help them along, and we're going to help them because the people, because number one, I want to help them. I don't want to on a humanitarian basis, but we have the Cuban American population, much of it living in Miami and Florida. That's a great group of people, amazing group of people, industrious, they're great Americans. They've wanted this to happen. They want to go back to their country. They want to help their country. I hope they're going to stay here, but they want to go back. They want to invest in their country and, see if they can bring it back. Other presidents have looked at this for 50, 60 years doing something, and it looks like I'll be the one that does it, so we'd be happy to do it. We want to open it up to Cuban Americans where they can go back and help.
Do something, and he's going to be the president that does it. Now, what is it, you're asking? Well, according to some reporting from Politico, yes, Trump really might attack Cuba. This is according to exclusive reporting from journalist Nahal Tusi. She writes, quote, the Trump administration has been dancing around the question of whether it will carry out military strikes against Cuba. I am told it is increasingly willing to take such a step. Military strikes. So we're talking about drone strikes, bombing Cuba, which is already in the midst of a humanitarian crisis because of the Trump administration, I might add. That's a significant escalation from a few months ago when officials were primarily focused on using economic and diplomatic pressure to squeeze the communist regime in Havana. So Donald Trump is very upset that they're not folding to soft power, so now it looks like he's going to move to military power. A U.S. official and person familiar with the administration's discussions on Cuba told me that Trump and his aides have grown frustrated that the U.S. pressure campaign, which includes starving the island of fuel, has not led Cuba's leaders to agree to significant economic and political reforms, so they're taking the military option more seriously than previously reported. Quote, the mood has definitely changed, said the person familiar with the discussions, whom, like others, I granted anonymity to discuss these sensitive issues. Quote, the initial idea on Cuba was that the leadership was weak and that the combination of stepped-up sanctions enforcement, really an oil blockade, and clear U.S. military wins in Venezuela and Iran would scare the Cubans into making a deal. Now Iran has gone sideways, and the Cubans are proving much tougher than originally thought. So now military action is on the table in a way that it wasn't before. This sentiment has been a pretty consistent theme throughout the Trump administration. Countries and groups of people being stronger than they thought. I mean, we're looking at Iran right now. Donald Trump, and according to this reporting, him and Netanyahu thought that Iran was going to be a breeze, that they could take out, the supreme leader, Khamenei, and replace it with their own handpicked guy, and they could bomb a bunch of people, kill a bunch of people, and it would be over within a week. Except that's not what happened. It was much tougher than expected. The Iranians are putting up a fight. They still have a bunch of missiles that they're launching. They still have bases that they're launching from. They still have missile launchers that they're launching the missiles from. And they've closed the Strait of Hormuz, choking the United States and, quite frankly, the world of fuel, of resources and things like that. And now the same thing is happening in Cuba, where Donald Trump and his buddies have severely underestimated the political leadership in Cuba, the people in Cuba, and so now they're looking to bomb Cuba. And to be clear, the political leadership in Cuba isn't great, and these are not, people and leaders that are necessarily doing what's best for the people. We've known that. But, should the military drone strike Cuba because of that? Probably not. Last week, news broke that the U.S. is moving forward to to indicting former Cuban President Raúl Castro, the 94-year-old brother of late Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. This has led to some speculation that the U.S. could carry out a military extraction operation against Castro the same way we did in Venezuela, but U.S. military planners are weighing an array of options beyond grabbing one or two individuals. The military action could range from a single airstrike meant to scare the regime into concessions to a ground invasion meant to uproot it. U.S. Southern Command has in the past few weeks, quote, convened a series. In other words, started drafting plans for potential military action. The U.S. official and the person familiar with the talks told me. No action is imminent. The Pentagon has plenty of firepower in the region. Cuba, a nation of 10 million, is just 90 miles off of Florida's coast. But we're also getting reporting that Cuba is actually looking to retaliate against the United States in the event of something happening. This brand new report from Axios details this. And to me, this just seems like a disaster scenario where the United States is fighting two wars. We're fighting one in the Middle East. We're fighting one with Cuba. It just seems insane to me, which I think it probably seems insane to most people, but most people are not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a unique kind of psychopath. Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones and recently began discussing plans to use them to attack the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and possibly Key West, Florida. They're going to attack Key West because Donald Trump is threatening war against them. According to classified intelligence shared with Axios, the intel, which could become a pretext for U.S. military action, shows the degree to which the Trump administration sees Cuba as a threat because of developments in drone warfare and the presence of Iranian military advisors in Havana. So this is not just, U.S. versus Cuba. This is a global thing, as pretty much any war is. Anytime the United States picks a country to go after, it's not just a, 1v1. It's kind of like a 5v5, China's watching, Russia's watching, Iran has military advisors there. It's a pretty deep thing. Quote, when we think about those types of technologies being that close and a range of bad actors from terror groups to drug cartels to Iranians to the Russians, it's concerning. It's a growing threat. It's kind of sounding like the Cold War, you know what I mean? CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba on Thursday and bluntly warned officials there against engaging in hostilities. He also urged them to scrap their totalitarian government and crippling U.S. sanctions. Quote, Director Ratcliffe made clear that Cuba can no longer serve as a platform for adversaries to advance hostile agendas in our hemisphere. The Western Hemisphere cannot be our adversaries' playground. On Wednesday, of course, as we just mentioned, the Department of Justice plans to unseal an indictment of Cuba's de facto leader, Raúl Castro, for allegedly ordering the 1996 downing of two planes flown by a Miami-based aid group called Brothers to the Rescue. This, as I said, it just seems like insanity to me. It just seems like people are going to get hurt, and it's an unnecessary war, as pretty much every war that Donald Trump has engaged in has been unnecessary. And it's especially stupid given that the economy is sucking. It's still struggling. People are hurting, and Donald Trump thinks the solution to that is another war. Inflation jumped to 3.8%, the highest since around the 2022-2023 area last month. It keeps going up because of Donald Trump's tariffs, because of the war, and now we're at almost 4%, and we know that Americans oppose a war with Cuba from a margin of 64% to 15%, 64 being opposed, 15 being support. Only 15% of Americans support a war with Cuba, and Donald Trump thinks, yeah, let's do it, it's a great idea. So this is just insanity, as we expect from Donald Trump on a daily basis. But I wanted to talk about this with you folks and give you everything we know right now of the United States planning an attack, Cuba planning an attack. It's just chaos on both sides. I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk soon.
Follow Blue Eye Media for exclusive insights and breaking news sources from global-friendly outlets that you won't get from the mainstream TV and radio outlets of America. Learn how to play the flute of the globe and learn the real truth.